Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Dana Wilde, and you are listening to the Positive Mindset for Entrepreneurs channel, where we show you how to break through limiting beliefs and make more money. Whoop, whoop. If you're ready to break through limiting beliefs, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And if you do, I will do my happy dance for you. So it goes like this. All right. All right. You could do it with me if you want. It feels really good, right? So I'm so glad you're here and we're going to have a great time because we're talking about a topic that affects like everybody on the planet. And the topic is overwhelm. Overwhelm. Oh no, none of us ever have any feelings of overwhelm, right? Wrong. So we had somebody write in, and I'm just going to read what they wrote, and then we're going to get right into it. What they wrote was, Dana, I get overwhelmed because I have too much to do, and I want to relearn how to reset to positive through brain training daily habits. Reset to positive, I guess is how that should read. Reset to positive through brain training daily habits. So terrific topic. Thank you for writing in and for sharing that. By the way, if you are interested in having your question answered on the show, just put in the comments, ask Dana, and the lovely Rose will share the link with you where you can apply, put your question in. It's always done anonymously. So, the first thing I would like to talk about related to overwhelm, and I alluded to it just a second ago, is that it's 1000% normal. And I think it's almost like a criteria for being human to have experienced it sometime or another. And it especially happens in this sandbox. Why? Because we are active, interested, passionate people. That's who's attracted to brain training. That's who's attracted to being an entrepreneur. You know, somebody who's the type of person who's going to launch their own business is also the type of person who's going to be interested in other things. And lifelong learners tend to be attracted to this sandbox. So we get our fingers in a lot of pies. And when you're interested in a lot of things, you can get overwhelmed. I know myself, I catch myself often where I have to kind of talk myself off the ledge. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Really, the first step in dealing with overwhelm is just waking up and being aware and saying, okay, this is something that I'm going to experience from time to time. It's normal. And I'm going to do my best to just wake up when it's happening, when I'm catching myself there. So that's kind of the first step, is to be able to just take a big deep breath when you're in the moment and say, okay, now is the moment that I'm having this experience. I remember one time I had all these little different things going on, and I was late for a Zoom that I was supposed to be on, and I had stuff to clean up outside. And my partner was asking me a question, and I was carrying this stuff in, and I was trying to get it in. And I could feel that kind of rushed feeling, and I was trying to put it into this little cubby that we've got in our entryway, and it wouldn't go in right away. And I could literally feel myself going like, oh, come on, verbally, and then laughing at myself a little bit like, okay, Dana, dial it back. This is not a major crisis. Maybe if you just take a deep breath and do it, you're fine. So, overwhelm is a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's a state of it's an emotional state. It really has nothing to do with how busy our schedules are. We can be cram packed full of good stuff and feel good and like we're in the flow and like things are happening, or we can be cram packed full of stuff and feel overwhelmed and crazy and all of those kind of negative emotions. So it's good. I find it good to know that even though sometimes my first instinct, and maybe yours too, is to say, okay, I've got to start canceling stuff, or I can't overbook myself, or I've got to get rid of some stuff in my life. That when I remember that it's a state of mind, it makes it much easier to come at it again and say, okay, well, really, how do I want to craft my life? How do I want to manage my emotional state? And this is what we're good at as brain trainers, right? We know how to manage our emotional state because we know how to think in our heads. When you are a proactive thinker in your head, when you are able to catch yourself and be aware in a moment, when you're able to shift your thinking, you can also shift your emotional state. So it's good to be a brain trainer, right? The other thing I know that helps me a lot with overwhelm is my brother has a saying that the saying says, give this task your full love and attention. So give this task right now your full love and attention. And this is maybe my lifelong dream is to be more present in my own life. Like it's something I know year after year after year, I get better and better at it. And it's important to me. I want to be focused and I want to be present in the moment and I want to be enjoying and savoring this moment. And when I hear that phrase, give this task your full love and attention, or give this thing, or give this moment, or give this opportunity your full love and attention, suddenly I really get zoned in and get feeling good and get present. And when I do that, and that maybe you've had this experience, if you've had this experience, please make a comment and just say like I have. The experience is when you get really present, time almost seems to slow down. Like you're really able to savor that moment, have the conversation. It's almost like the whole world doesn't exist outside of it, and time really slows down in that moment, and you're able to enjoy it and you're able to give it your full love and attention. So I love that phrase, and I thank my brother for bringing that on my radar. The other thing that's helped me a lot with this is to know you are capable and you are prepared. So many times I think we feel overwhelmed because we are going into a one-on-one conversation, or we're going into a meeting, or we're going to show up to teach a course, or we're going to do something. I mean, it can be personal too, like a parent teacher conference or something like that. And we can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not prepared, or I have to prepare more, I have to take more time to prepare, or I have to sit down and study all this stuff, or I have to learn. And it's really helped me to dial back and just say, do you know what? This is going to be fine. I know what to do. I am prepared. This is going to unfold beautifully. What we're going to do together is going to unfold beautifully. Really put that projection into the world, that feeling of I am enough. I am enough. I'm prepared enough. I know enough. I'm capable enough. I can just go out and do the thing that I do this next thing that I'm doing, and it's going to unfold just beautifully. It's all good. Everything is fine. So taking that pressure off of like, oh, I have to be such a perfectionist, or everything has to be in order, or I can never study enough, or I can't know enough, or I can't prepare enough. I mean, nobody can prepare enough because you don't know what's going to happen when you get there anyway, right? Like you have to experience it and be present. So what if we could live our lives just relaxing and being ourselves and showing up and being authentic and saying what we know and saying what we don't know, and being having the experience of being connected to other humans, or delivering that thing, or being creative if it's something we're creative being creative. So really that thought of I'm enough, I'm capable, I'm prepared, everything is good. Next, I have some visuals that I use that really help me a lot with overwhelm, and maybe they'll help you too. I had an experience way back in my 20s, and this will tell you how long I've been dealing with overwhelm. And I was talking to an uncle of mine. I was talking about how busy I am. I had this thing. I was volunteering a lot then. So I had this volunteer commitment, this one, this one, this one. I was going through the whole list of just how overwhelmed I was in my life and all the things I had to do. And I was talking to my uncle about, I'm going to drop this and drop this and drop this. And because he was a psychologist, he said, well, I hate to clue you in, Dana, but as soon as you get rid of all that stuff, you're just going to fill it up with something else. You're just going to be busy anyway, because that's the nature. And, of course, I was like I say, in my early 20s and thought I knew more than he did, but it is in hindsight, I really see that it's really true. Like, we do go through this ebb and flow where we get more calm and we get more busy, but at the end of the day, many of us have full lives because we love our full lives. You know, if we look at all the different facets of our life, we wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna give up my kids, or I'm gonna give up my partner, or my pets, or my hobbies, or my interests, or my business, or my volunteer work, or my community service." Like, we love all of it. We do it, we've chosen it. It's part of our lives because it brings us joy and we love it. So it's a really talking about overwhelm in a different way. Instead of thinking about your life as I'm overwhelmed by so much to do, it's more like saying, you know what? I love my full life. I love my full life. I love all the different bits and bobs that I've got. And I'm thankful for and list the things like really embrace the full life that you've got. I love my kids and my partner and my friends and my social commitments and my business and my volunteer commitments. And I love that my life is so rich and full. It's just so rich and full, and it feels so good to be in the flow. And so this brings me to the next visual, and that is almost a visual of like an orchestra, where you've got the strings playing, and then you've got the percussion, and you've got all these different little pieces going off in an orchestra in perfect harmony with perfect music at the perfect time. Sometimes some of them are happening at once, sometimes it's one at a time. And that's kind of what a busy life can be like. When you start thinking of it instead like your full life that you embrace and that you love, and that you're so lucky to have so many different facets, it feels so much better than I'm so busy because I have too much to do. Like, none of us want to be in that story. All of us want to be in the story and the reality of how rich and full and awesome our lives are, right? Then I want to just reiterate that you're not managing your calendar, you're managing your emotions. You're managing the way you interact throughout your day. You specifically asked about daily habits, and so that's why I want to come back to it here a little bit and mention it. One of the things we do as brain trainers is we're committed to this. We're committed to living our lives in a more proactive, awakened, aware, centered, present, loving way. We're committed to really understanding the power of our brains and being centered and present in our own lives. And when you have that declaration, you've got that commitment, it gets a lot easier. I always like to say, kind of make that commitment every morning. I'm awake. It's going to be a great day. 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 Ready to go, right? Like just make that commitment in 10 seconds every morning. If you can do 60 seconds, you're a rock star. If you can do 120 seconds, you'll be flying to the moon before breakfast, right? So just make that commitment in the morning. I am a brain trainer. I feel good. I'm committed to staying present. I'm committed to staying center. I'm ready to go. Then as you go throughout your day, don't let yourself get dragged into petty arguments or petty disagreements. And this is one I often catch when I'm in the middle of it before, it's like, okay, hold on, hold on. I'm starting to argue this point that really makes no difference. So it's those kind of arguments like, well, you were the one that said that we should add that to the list, or you were the one that said we should get that. And then the other one's like, no, you were the one that said, well, don't you remember that time when we talked about this and you said we were supposed to do this? Right? Like, those arguments that are pointless because neither one of you are ever going to see that the other one was the one that did it. And frankly, who cares? Right? Who cares? And we get into them and sometimes we forget who cares. So those are the things what I tell myself in my brain when I'm in the middle of that is, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And for me now, it takes something pretty major for me to trade in my happiness. And then I'm still always sorry I made that decision, right? I want my happiness over everything. I'd always rather be happy than be right, and especially about something stupid like most silly little petty everyday arguments are. So when you make that commitment to be a brain trainer in the morning and then you make that commitment over and over and over again throughout the day, I choose happy, I choose happy, I choose happy, I choose happy, I choose happy. Also, what helps is if you can take that just a few minutes transition time when you go from one thing to the next. It doesn't have to be, an hour or 30-minute or a 15-minute meditation or any of that. If you can even just take 60 to 90 seconds as you go into the next phase of your life, done with the breakfast phase, going to sit down and talk to my clients phase, whatever it is, leaving one client, going to the next client, leaving a client, going to a live stream, leaving the live stream, going to pick the kids up from school, whatever those transitions are. If you can take 60 to 90 seconds and just say, okay, whew, good. I enjoyed that. I'm moving on to the next phase. It's my intention to give it my full love and attention. I like being present in my life. I expect this to unfold easily. I feel good. I feel centered. I'm enough. I'm capable. Everything's good. Life is unfolding. Like little, I mean, what was that? 20 seconds? If you do 60 seconds, imagine how good you feel after 60 seconds. So the idea here is that sometimes I think with overwhelm, and I'm guilty of it too, we can we can try to pull ourselves from underwater after we're already underwater. And the idea with being more proactive, declaring that you're going to have a good day in the morning, dealing with those transitions, telling yourself you choose happy over and over again. When we get more proactive, we're less likely to get overwhelmed, right? So, the last thing I want to tell you or say to you is that I know you wrote this really sincerely. When you're in a moment of overwhelm, you're writing like, help, I'm overwhelmed. I'm hating my life. Everything's going so terrible and all this stuff. And it feels palpable in that very moment. But I think you're going to find doing just a few of these things that you are going to transition that feeling of overwhelm easily and consistently. I think you're going to find more and more, you're going to be seeing that it really is true. It's not the amount of things you've got scheduled on your calendar, but it's how you feel about those things and it's how you feel in the moment. Many of us, we can look at a busy schedule and we can be excited, or we can look at a busy schedule and be overwhelmed. Now, that's not to say don't find some pockets of rest for yourself. Of course, self-care is essential and primary in all those good things. But whatever you're experiencing right now, whatever your calendar is right now, whatever you've got going right now, embrace it and know that you can feel good about it. We can have a full schedule and go kicking and screaming and hate it, or we can have a full schedule and go, yeah, I'm ready for the ride. I am ready. I'm going to deal with this easily. I'm going to feel so good at the end of the day. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to be in the flow. I'm going to have fun. I can't wait. I'm getting good at this. I'm a brain trainer. It's so fun to be present. I love giving this my attention. It's so cool to be on all these different lists and all these different hobbies and have all these different interests. And I love my family and I love my pets and I love my partner and I love the land that I live on. I mean, you can just go on and on and on about all the good things that you've got going in your life and know like you will manage it. It'll be like surfing, no matter what's going on, no matter how rocky or unstable things are, it doesn't matter because you're centered, you're balanced, you're moving down the wave and you're having a good time the whole way. So, in short, you've totally got this.